So tonight when I left, Jen and Amy down the street at 4512 Asbury Avenue were pulling in, which they do all the time when I'm getting ready to walk out the door. If I walk out the door, they come out. Sometimes they come out before I walk out the door. Now, I don't know what you moved into that house for. I don't know if you moved in for a fight or what, because you were rude with me right off, Jen. But I know that y'all probably stalk my page because, Jen, your daughter actually contacted me on my home landline phone and spoofed her number about a year ago, which I kept records of, and I reported to the police and to the phone company. And so I also reported it to the FCC. So she refused to give me her name, said she was underage, and it sounded just like your daughter. And she'd be the type, probably put up to it by you, I would suspect, to do something cowardly like that. I'm not saying she did, but I'm saying that her voice sounded just like your daughter. And I don't know why you moved in with a chip on your shoulder and you're nosy about what I'm doing. You got your nose at my butt. One night I came out the door and Amy was in the black truck facing my front door in front of Chuck's property, watching me like she was waiting on me to come out the door. And when I said something to her, I'd been to church with y'all, or I don't know if you were there, Jen, but I'd been to church with Amy. Went to a church and she came up and spoke to me, and I didn't recognize her. I didn't know who she was, but later I did recognize her. And here's the thing, she told me, we don't give a rat's blank about what you're doing. Really? Well, you got your nose up my butt every time I walk outside. So you're watching this video right now. Every time I walk outside, you got your nose up my butt. See, you don't understand why I, spun tires up there today. You don't really know me. You don't know what kind of hellion I used to be before Jesus. So I spun tires because the hill was wet, but mainly because I'm being harassed by the guy across the street, and you don't know anything about that. Only what you've been told, only the lies that you've been told. You have no idea. You heard me up there hollering Tuesday because it finally sunk in that I live next door. I mean, I finally had the proof that a meth lab was in that house next door, and that man harassed me mercilessly for 7 years. And Randy Davis across the street took part in it, and evidently you know him too. So somebody's put you up to harassing me, and I'm going to give you fair warning, you better leave me alone. Because there's other things that I can do about what you're doing. You don't think I can do anything about it, but there's other things I can do. I haven't done nothing to you, and I want you to leave me alone. I don't know what your deal is or why you think you got to monitor what I'm doing. You were standing outside when I went down the hill tonight, but you don't give a rat's blank about what I do down there, up there. We don't care. Yeah. That's a lie, because you're up my butt every time I walk out the door. You have harassed me in your quiet little way. And now you got to get your sister involved in it. Like, takes two of you against me, because you're a skinny little runt and you want to start crap, and then you got to get your big old sister over there to take care of you. I don't need nobody to take care of me. I don't get people over here to help me harass you. That just shows what kind of person you really are. How weak you really are. You still got curtains off your windows, and I've told y'all that he was in the woods across there from the street on his property looking in your windows. And my video caught him looking in the woman on the other side of him's windows from the corner of his property after her husband left and when it turned dark. He's standing out there in the dark looking in her windows, watching her kids and her. So I'm going to tell you something. Leave me alone, Jen. You don't know what this fight is about, and it's none of your business. And as for Chuck, which I know he's probably watching these videos too, because he's modified his behavior after I've made videos about it. He went in my yard. He was coming over the fence, and you can look at it yourself from your window. You can see where he put blocks up there and stepped over. He put a trash can back there at the very corner of the property that does not belong to him, belongs to the previous company, and they should come and pick it up. He should call them to come pick it up. So he's stealing that, and he put it at the back of property, and he uses that to step over to my yard. Somebody messed with my tree back there and pulled the limbs apart and was watching me through those limbs when I was working on my back door at night, a few nights in a row. I finally put a shower curtain over the storm door because I felt like somebody was out there. At the corner of my property that butts up against his, he was coming through there into my yard. And how do I know that? I'll tell you a couple of ways. He cut down all that privacy back there that had been there for 50 years. He said, "You ain't been here 50 years. Well, I'm 64, and I moved in when I was 14. So, yeah, I have. And on and off, but good bit. I've been here. And he took down a wreath that I made out of grapevines that was on my side of the property. He took that down, threw it away, and said he didn't know what happened to it. Okay. That was just another indication that he didn't respect other people's properties. You know that little thing you got on your report card when you were in kindergarten, respects other people's property? Well, he failed that. Okay, he failed that in kindergarten because he did not respect my property. That wreath belonged to me. So he cuts all that down so he can climb over into my yard. Can I prove it? No. But I gave him 2 pieces of 4-inch pipe, sewer pipe. He said, ask if he could have it. I said, sure. I gave it to him. I had 5 or 6 pieces out there. I gave 2 pieces to him. Later, he came in my yard without asking and got another piece, which I would have gave it to him if he'd asked. I would have let him come in the yard and get it. I would have gave it to him. Even though I needed it, I would have given it to him because he asked. He buried it in the ground and run it over so it would drain into your yard. I mean, he could have run it to the other end of the property towards the back of your property, but he ran it over so it would drain right into your driveway. And he buried it. And then he told me, oh, by the way, I got another piece of pipe right here. I buried it right here. And another check in my spirit. Listen, I didn't care about that. I didn't care about him cutting down the bushes. But him taking that pipe without asking, coming in my yard, let me know he don't respect my other people's property, and he will come in my yard without asking. I mean, it's just ABC 1, 2, 3 elementary, my dear Watson, that I understood this man is not honest. So I sent him a message because I didn't see him for a while, and I told him I'm going to put a privacy fence up back there. I want you to hear my side of this. I'm going to put a privacy fence back up there because somebody's been coming in my yard. Now listen, ain't nobody been coming in my yard from that area ever. Gilman did, the meth dealer. I suspected him in my yard. I suspected him of making meth, and yes, I was right. I found out this past week because somebody went in there and they saw it, who was an official person trained to know those kinds of things. Had to put on a gas mask, a military gas mask, to go in there. So I was right, and I was right about Chuck too. He's not a good person. And he can lie to you all he wants to, Jen. But I caught him with a chair facing your windows, looking in your windows. And for some odd reason, you ain't got sense enough to put curtains up on that dining room window. You got a child in that house. And you don't put no curtains up, and I've let you know by talking real loud and by telling Chuck, and I'm sure he told you that Randy's been across the street looking in your window, looking in Chuck's window. Chuck had sense enough to close his curtains. You ain't. So I don't know whose side you're on or why you're on that side. I ain't done nothing to you. But it's on, chick. You and Amy need to mind your own business and focus on yourself, because you're a mess. You are a mess. Both of you got a mess going on, and you're watching me. Like a devil from the pit of hell, you watching a Christian. So look, I ain't perfect. I had a meltdown the other day, and I was screaming and hollering because I wanted Randy to know you supported a meth dealer, and people on this street supported a meth dealer who was poisoning kids on that street. And you knew it. And you are just as guilty, Jen, because evidently you know what's went on. Are you doing meth? Is that why you would support a meth dealer? Because you act really strange. You're one of the weirdest people I've ever met for a woman. Or whatever you call yourself. I don't even know what you call yourself. Whoever you identify as, you're weird. And so Chuck, I sent him a message and told him that I was going to put a privacy fence back up there because that 50 years of privacy he cut down, which did not matter to me. I don't care. It's on his property. However, whatever you do, I don't care in your yard. Until it affects me, I don't care. If you harass me, it affects me. If you come in my yard at night, you climb over into my yard at night, yeah, that affects me. So that's when I say something about it. So I told him I was going to put a privacy fence up, and he cussed me out, told me to mind my own business. Well, look, I am. He walked off because I would have told him, I am minding my own business. You come in my yard is my business, buddy Rowe. Stay out of my yard. That is my business. I don't care what you do in your yard until it affects me. And that is my business. So stay out of my yard. So if you're listening, Chuck, because I know you probably stalk my you know a lot more about this situation than you're putting on, and so do you, Jen. Y'all have heard gossip. You've been informed by somebody. You've been misinformed by somebody, because I didn't do anything to any of you. Nothing. So mind your own business, Jen and Amy. You got something to say to me? Come on up in my yard. I wish you would. I wish you would. And Chuck is mentally ill. And look, I watched him buff out his truck. I said to somebody on the phone in my house and talking to somebody that ain't nobody gonna buy that truck. It's old. I don't care what you've done to it. The paint job ain't no good on it. And I said that, and he got out there and buffed it, made it shiny, which they still ain't going to give him $5,500 for that truck. They don't care that you rebuilt it, because they don't know if you're telling the truth. They ain't going to buy it for that amount, a 98 truck. So he got out there and shined it up, and I watched him step up on that bumper, step over that rear tailgate, and step up on top of his toolbox and get up there and shine the top of that thing. So I said, yeah, and he did it with ease. So I said, yeah, I was right. Just like I was right about that meth dealer making meth in that house. There goes Piedmont EMS being nosy. Just like I'm right about that, which they're always coming at me, which you don't believe that either. I really don't care. I'm right about that too. I got brains. I got a lot of brains. A lot more than people give me credit for. And so Chuck was able to easily step up on top of that truck. So I'm right about this too. He stepped up on those blocks that he piled up on the other side of my property and put that trash can, and he hopped right over into my yard at night. And I know you're watching this too, Chuck, because you've altered your behavior after I posted videos on here. I don't know what is wrong, if it's in the water in Alabama, in Calhoun County, or what. But half of you people in this town have lost your freaking mind. I was right about a meth dealer dealing meth to kids on my street. And all of you supported this man, a meth dealer, poisoning kids. Probably having sex with them too. Because he was a pervert. A nasty, filthy, minded mouth pervert. So what is it? Is it a child sex ring on my street, or what? In my within a block of me, the sex ring? What's going on? What is wrong with people in this community? What is wrong with them? Why would you support a meth dealer? Why? Why? Ask yourself why. I'm asking that question. Why? What is wrong with you people? Mind your own business, Jen. Mind your own business, Amy. Mind your own business, Chucky. Mind your own business, Randy. Randy, I know you're stalking me. You're doing it through electronics too. Hey, I was right about Gilman, and I'm right about you. And I'm going to prove it. Just like God helped me to prove this about Gilman, God's going to help me prove it about you too, Randy. You're going to suffer the consequences of your evil soon.